Okay, you are able to see my screen, right?
Yeah, Arjun.
Yeah. So, okay. So just we'll walk through over the course overview which I'll be covering. So the first topic we'll be seeing is like what is the Google Cloud architecture, how your organization look like in a Google Cloud environment. Like what are organization, what are the folders, projects, resource, billing, APIs and all. So for example, I'll just show you. So this is like a temporary lab environment. So here you can see the lab duration is almost 1 hour. So it depends upon the type of the lab which you are using the website Quick Lab. So if you have joined with laptop, then I can help you with the setting up of this lab, or we can see it on next class also. So here I'll just walk through. Okay, so this is the Google Cloud environment. What we are seeing is like how your organization looks like in a Google Cloud environment. What are the organization folder, project, resource, building, and APIs. So here, if we see, this is the top level. This is the top button where you can find the structural architecture of in company. Okay, so since this is a temporary project, we can't register an organization here. So organization is nothing but your top level domain. Let's say your company is something like you're working for visualpath.com. So in the right about this no organization, here it will be visualpath.com. And inside visualpath.com, what we have folders. So folders is nothing but various departments. Like your company might be having sales, finance, HR, and all. So inside that folder, we'll be having specific department. Those how we can group that. And inside that we have projects. Like projects is where our actual resources are defined. So so this is one type of project, Google Cloud Shell. So this is one project where we have all the resources related to Google Cloud Shell project. And if you want to go to another kind of project, then this is the other one, like Quick Labs. So based on the projects and all, it will change the resources also. Mm. And building is like how you are, how your resources will be built for the Google Cloud. Like everything needs to be having an account, right? So how your resource, like how your compute engine is charged, how your machines are charged, how your data is charged. So those sorts of things we'll be seeing in the building criteria. And API is like application program interface where various services of Google will communicate with each other. Let's say Google Cloud is having one Windows machine and it is having one database. So how the Windows machine will be communicated with the database, that is with the help of the APIs. So G Cloud is nothing but your CMD. Like for Windows, we have CMD, right? Like the command based. Okay, so this is for the Windows. So similar to that, for G Cloud, Google Cloud, we have this activate Cloud Shell. So instead of going through the console and selecting each and everything, and if you are comfortable with the command line thing, then you can use the G Cloud option. So you just need to activate it. Just click here. It will take some less than a minute to get provision it. So this is nothing but a bash kind of thing. So if you know little, if you're coming from little background of Linux and all, then you'll be able to use this. So this is like all the interfaces are like the Linux only. So based on that, you can create a machine, you can delete a machine, you can communicate with the all other services here. And next thing is IAM. IAM is like how the authorization is going to get handled in the Google Cloud. What are the various types of roles we have in Google Cloud, and how we can create our own rules, and what are the best practices when it comes to IAM while implementing the Google Cloud. And compute engine is like the main component of the Google Cloud. So it is nothing but your machines, like your Windows, like Linux or the Windows machine. And what are the different types of machines available, regions and so on. What are snapshot, auto scaling, and load balancing. So for this, I just show you one interface. So where we can find all our resources in the left side navigation menu if you go. So if you in under compute we have compute engine. So just click here. Let me refresh. Yeah. Okay, so this one, this we can create our machine. So if you go to create instance, we open other tables. Okay, by that time it will come. Okay, image. I don't know why the console is slow. So by the time it will come, we move to other slides, and once it will come, we will be going through the what process of the creating computation. So after compute engine, we'll be going through cloud storage. Cloud storage is nothing but if you are let's say free storage, like you can store anything here except the databases. Like what are the different type of storage classes we have, what are the life cycle management, and how to access the bucket. So storage class is like how we are going to access the bucket, how you are going to access the object in the storage class. Like you are having a data which you want to access on a monthly basis, then you will be putting those files in one type of bucket. And there are other kind of files which we will be accessing like once in a year, then you will be putting those files in other type of the buckets. So based on that, we have different type of storage classes. And life cycle management is like let's say after uh, after 60 days you want to move those files from one storage class to another. For that we'll be using life cycle management. So you don't need to do that manually, we just need to set up or schedule it. And how to access the bucket is like how you are going to access those objects in the file. So that by using IAM policies or ACL, so like that. See if it is clear or
Arjun,
not.
this cloud storage and
Yeah.
all same as AWS, right?
uh,
Buckets and
the
all.
bucket you're telling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. IAM
Yeah,
buckets.
yeah. AWS, if we compare for EC2, we have compute engine. Okay, like in AWS, we have EC2, right, for machines, Linux and Windows
So
machine.
terminology and all the same.
Yeah, terminology and all same, but there are some difference. Like AWS doesn't have a concept of this organization, folders, projects, resources.
Yeah, yeah.
AWS don't have a concept of this one. Like if you want to create, three environment, let's say development, quality, and production, then I think you need to create different three separate accounts in AWS.
Okay.
Okay, but when it comes to Google Cloud, here you can see like within this thing only we can create. Like here you can see here on top you can create development, then let's say quality, then production. So some things are different and some things are like almost similar. So like here if
Okay.
you can see like AWS yeah, I think here we will be giving the name of the compute engine or the EC2 our machines. So if we give caps it won't take. This is just the naming convention of the machine. So if we give my machine and label is nothing but how you are going to identify your machine, like owner, who will be the owner of the machine, and what will be the role of the machine, it is DB or something like that. So that we can give here. And next thing is the region. Like if you can see these are the regions available in the GCP. So in India, if you see, we have Delhi and Mumbai. And Delhi, they have recently introduced. And one specialty about GCP when compared to other cloud provider is like for each region they have three separate zones. If you check Mumbai, so we'll be having Asia South 1A, South 1B, South 1C. Similarly, if we check Delhi, which was recently introduced, so South A, B, C. So these are the based on the customer and our the location of the company, we can place these things. And next thing is the machine family, like how you are going to, what kind of machines we want. We want general purpose or compute optimized. So these are the categories: E2, N2. E2 is like CPU based, and like for normally testing and all, we'll be using N1. So and this is the CPU machine type, like shared core E2 standard. Like here you can see, don't go for this name. It will be like, they have mentioned some naming criteria. Just cut here, 2 CPU, 8 GB RAM, 4 CPU, 16 GB, 8 CPU, 32 GB. So those things. And if we go here, so here is where the boot disk will be having. Boot disk is nothing but, what type of operating system we want our machines. So in Debian we have, CentOS, Debian, Red Hat, SQL, Ubuntu, Windows Server, everything. And that how those are public images. And custom images, see, we don't have any custom images right now. Custom image is nothing but what we have created. For example, we provisioned a machine from the public images and we installed some software. So those will be our images created by user. And if you want to create the similar machine, so if you go to the custom images, go to the project which we have created that images, and select that machine. And if you want to create some snapshot which we have taken, then we can do that, or existing list, that's also similar for that. And this is like how your machine, like your this particular machine, my machine is going to have communication with the other GCP services. So we can, if we go here, set access for each API. So BigQuery is a data warehouse services in Google Cloud. So here you can see how you can, like BigQuery, it can read data from, other resources. So this we can give none of enable. The best example will be yeah, Stack driver, which is nothing but your monitoring agent. Like if your application is experiencing some latency or some issue or error or something, then you can enable the stack driver login. So those also we can control from here. We can give different type of access. If we want write something into it, read or pull. So based on that, we can give stack driver access on that. And this is the thing which I talked about, like storage. For example, your machine wants to write something into the bucket. So for that, where is it? Yeah, storage. So for that we can give write only, and if your machine wants to read something from the bucket, then you can give read only, and if you want both, give read and write, and so based on that. Then this is the part of networking which we'll be seeing later. So if we go to the bucket here, so bucket will be under storage. So here you can see, if we go to storage, so this is like other cloud provider when it comes to the naming convention of the bucket, which is like the naming convention of the bucket should be unique. For example, if I give my name, see showing that bucket name is already taken. If I give Dave also, it will show bucket, because those names are very common, and these names are already taken. So what the best practices we'll follow in real time project is like, one thing we can do is like we can go here and just put the project ID, because project ID will be unique in all across the globe. So if we give a, okay, hyphens are not, I think, okay, because this is a Usually project ID don't have this alphanumeric thing. It will be having something like let's say if we give visual part day, say it is taken because this is maybe the single company, right? Visual part, and nobody has created any bucket on that. So that is why it is taken. And if you go here, so this is like where you want to store your data. Like if your company is a in a global company, then we can store it in a multi-region. And if it is like dual region, then we can go for that. And if your company is only compares to one particular region, then we can have region bucket. So I think here, if we compare with the AWS S3 bucket, I think S3 is a global resources. Like it is like, if you want to store something, then you only have one option, just S3. We can't specify the location in S3.
Yeah.
But in GCP, yeah, so if in GCP, you have multi-region, dual region, and lower region. And location also, if we can see, you okay, US, Europe, and Asia. On these they have. We can't be selecting in region specific, but zone specific. Will be selecting only the region specific. If we go here, so this is the thing I was talking about the storage class. Like if you want to frequently access data, you can put it on standard. And if you want to back up or once in a month, then year line. And code line is disaster recovery less than once in a quarter. And archive is once in a year. So I think in in S3 I don't remember
Relaxation.
the categorization. I think the code line they were referring to the glacier things there, right? In S3. So for that they are referring to I think a code line or archive. So next is like how you can control the access to the bucket. So if you go to fine grained and if we continue, then you'll be having object level permission, like bucket level permission. You can specify through IAM or ACL and all. So if you create bucket, the bucket will be get created. Next topic is cloud storage. Now next is VPC. So VPC will be seeing how to create a VPC and what are the subnets and firewall rules. Then what is shared VPC and what is and network pairing and all. So we will see whether I can able to access VPC in this environment. So VPC will be under the networking part. So that side you can see. So by default, GCP will be having default like VPC on every region. Here you can see, like every default region will be having the default. This is like GCP specific IP addresses. So here you can see we can have every region north, east, like from US, Asia, Europe, Australia, everything we have. Now when it comes to we have VPC network pairing. So network pairings are like network pairing is like, for example, we'll be having uh, two domains related to one single company. Let's say if you have visualpath.com and we have another subsidiary of the same visualpath.com. For example, if you have visualpath, let's say you know, training.com. So if you want to communicate between these two domains, then we'll be using network pairing. So we'll be going through each and every of them when we look up when we'll be looking for the networking part. So this is just an overview of that. Like if you want to communicate traffic between these two different domains, then we'll be using network pairing. And next is the database option which we have in the Google Cloud. We have Cloud SQL, Bigtable, BigQuery, Cloud Spanner, and data store. So Cloud SQL, if you check, see, we have Bigtable. Bigtable is like your let's say in, this is like column-based database. Like this is mainly used for if your data is coming from IoT specific devices or something like related to the data is something related to petabytes of data, then we will be using Bigtable. And a data store is something like if you are developing an application related to mobile or small devices, then if you want database on that, so we'll be using data store. And this is a data migration services which will be used to migrate the data from on-premise to Google Cloud. And yeah, so this is the main thing, Cloud SQL. So if we go to create instance, so Cloud SQL, we have these many distributions. We can have MySQL, PostgreSQL, and SQL Server. Only these three categorization is there in GCP. Like for Oracle and all, we don't have anything for that right now. So next is Google Cloud Operations Suite. Here is like how you are going to monitor your resources. Like I said earlier, if your application is experiencing some latency or user is having some issue, then how you get alerted. And so for that, we will be using cloud monitoring, cloud logging, error reporting, and application performance management. And these services are like mainly for developers. Like if you are coming from a development background or a web development background, then we will be like working with these services. Like App Engine, which is similar to that, and Kubernetes is like if you want to work on, if you are coming from a DevOps side or Docker container side, then we'll be having another services called Kubernetes engine. And Cloud Deployment Manager is like an automation tool in the GCP. Let's say customer is agreed to be on the Google Cloud and everything is set up, and he want to deploy the foundation of the Google Cloud, right? So for that, we'll be using Cloud Deployment Manager. It is like an automation script. So if you write that script based on the configuration, and if you just just put configured everything, and if you just put it on the Google Cloud, then your infra will be created automatically. So the next is like this that I just added like from my project experiences, what I have done from all these years. So we'll be checking like how the customer will be onboarding to Google Cloud. It's like how the customer organization is defined, like how the IAM is defined, how the networking, logging and monitoring, cloud architecture, building and engagement, and all. And next is the security, how the Google Cloud is handling the security. So Cloud Armor, Cloud Security, Identity Aware Process. So these are the security services in Google Cloud. So we'll be seeing each these, and how the connectivity to Google Cloud is happening. So it is like let's say you have a you have an on-premise data center, and there is a Google Cloud data center also, right? So you want to migrate to your on-premise data to Google Cloud. So how you are going to get connectivity between your on-premise and Google Cloud? So we have these many options like Cloud Interconnect, Partner Interconnect, Transfer Appliance, and VPN. So transfer appliance is, I mean, these two, if you compare with AWS, it will be like your direct connect. I think direct connect is the name, I think, in AWS.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, direct connect. Yeah. So for transfer appliance, you heard of AWS Snowball, right? It is like a physical device.
Yes.
If you are not familiar, transfer appliance GCP. If you check it, AWS Snowball. So it is like a physical device. Here you can see, which will be, plugged to your on-premise data center, and based on the uh, based on the size of the data and the network, your data will be transferred, and once it is done, then you can ship it to the Google Cloud data center. Then they will do the rest of the task. So this is the almost the look similar, these things. Um, then other is the last thing is the cloud migration. So what are the migration types we are having in general? So it will be, migration type is like it is general for all the cloud environment, AWS, Azure, and GCP. We have different migration type like rehost, replatform, retire, and all. And what are the migration phases, and how to get your applications to cloud ready. And migrate for compute is actually a tool we use to migrate the Google Cloud. Like for AWS, we are having a cloud endor. Like similarly for GCP, we are having migrate for compute services. And last thing is the post steps, like what are the things we need to take care once the migration is done and the application is handed over to the, let's say, the infra team or the customer. So those things will be seen. So like next class, if you're coming joining with the laptop, then we can check the lab environment also. So for today, I have only this. If you have any questions, then I'm happy to answer.
We can create a free account, right? GCP.
Yeah, sorry.
We can create a free account. Free account.
No, free account is no free account. I'm not sure because earlier they were using 1 year
They give some
subscription.
credits, right? 28,000 credits on for the.
No, for $300 they used to give. Like for $300 services, you can use the Google Cloud services. And earlier they used to give for 1 year, but now they have reduced to 3 months. And other thing is like for AWS free trial, you can use any card, right, for creating a free trial. Like you can use any debit card or credit card for any bank, Visa, Mastercard, anything. But GCP, you might face some problem because GCP will take only some cards. Other cards they used to decline. So that is
Okay.
the thing. Yeah. So if you're having credit card, then it will take. But better we can use this QuickLab environment.
Quick
So
lab.
it is
Okay.
like yeah. So it is like I got monthly subscription somehow after searching in the internet for a week. So if we have, then we can practice it. So the only thing is like lab will be like decommissioned after an hour based on the duration. Some are having 1 hour, some is having 30 minutes and all. So based on that we can do. So as you can see, I have created this lab from this cloud operation for GE. So this lab automatically will be get deleted after 18 or 19 minutes. So this is like they have built pre-built environment, I can say. Like we have various scenario which we can test here. Like if you go for create a virtual machine. See, they have given the steps like how to do that. Create a virtual machine in Cloud Console. So there are two parts in this lab if you see. The one thing is like I think yeah. First thing is like creating to the console, and the second one is like if we go here, yeah, creating new instance C cloud, like using the command line also. So both the scenario we can give. Like free trial, we are not sure whether we will, like whether we'll be using all the resources or not. But this is somewhat safe. What I feel, because when I went to so many like Google Cloud workshop 2 3 years back, they used to provide QuickLab labs. Other than they expected us not to use the free tier credits because we don't know, right? We might end up creating a machine and we'll just forget it, and next day if we check it, we will be getting additional bill because we have not deleted or switched off the machines and all. So we have a lab based on like all services. So this is just one like creating a virtual machine, and if you we have advanced also like a Terraform fundamentals, smart contracts, and everything. So if we cloud storage. Uh, like if you are from a development background, then you can test these also. As I said, App Engine. So this is comes from Java and Python. So you are from like a SQL developer, right? PLSQL or just
Yeah,
SQL?
yeah, SQL.
Okay, so you might be interesting in BigQuery. So BigQuery is kind of a database in GCP. So for this, they have using format almost similar to the SQL. And I have only limited understanding of this BigQuery because this BigQuery services and all most will be comes under data engineering kind of profile. But since you are from okay, let's- so BigQuery. One more thing is like we can export the billing data to BigQuery and then we can analyze. So if you locate external, okay, analyze using SQL queries, so that we can use. So I think only there is only some modification. So this almost similar like I'm not similar, almost same like SQL, right? Select asterisk from
Yeah, 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 yeah,
database where cost is greater than zero. So so this is how you can analyze. And there's a variety of the other services. So yeah, this is also same. Select. Yeah, this almost looks like SQL. So you can try that also. I mean,
yeah.
based on our course duration.
Compared to AWS, they have less services, right? GCP.
Compared to AWS, yeah, services you are telling.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, services compared to AWS, GCP services are very less. But AWS is having, if you check in EC2 itself, they'll be having lots and lots of services. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have worked in one AWS migration project also. It is having many services. But GCP have only few services, but it's more like very precise, I can say. So, have you worked on any AWS kind of projects or no?
No, 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 no. I did not work.
Okay, okay. Right.
I know the basic detailings about AWS services.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, any other questions?
No, Arjun.
Okay, then thanks for joining. So if you have any question, you can contact with Visualpath.